renewing in August, sometimes that could be difficult. Mr. Convento said he was overcoming that by putting people on open-ended programs. And I started thinking a lot about this. I thought it was a good idea. I also had some concerns about people who need cash and people actually who need put students on commitments. So I kind of did a flow chart, and I'm going to share that right now. It's nothing new, nothing earth-shaking. People did this before. A lot of schools are still doing it now, but I think I've got some really cool things that make it different and make it very attractive. So the whole idea is to bring a student again from intro to leadership. Would you have to change your system if you didn't have to upgrade and ask for more commitment and money in the first 90 days? In other words, would that be a benefit for you? Right now, most people are doing 6 months. During the first 6 months, the kids are in a basic class. Halfway through the basic class and they get to yellow belt, well, this would be the first time they get a chance to upgrade. So you're selling someone today, and 3 months later you're sitting in the office, and now you're asking a person who just bought 6 months to buy 24 months. So if you could eliminate that, would life be easier for you and the less pressure on your program director? So that's kind of the first question. That's probably a loaded question yet, because most people would say, of course, selling something the first time is tough enough. Talking to someone and telling them that they need to go for another 2 years is even more difficult, and I hate having to do that in the first 90 days. So is there a way to make leadership an honor instead of a purchase? In other words, when you sit down with a student, even though we say if you work really hard, you earn your yellow belt, now you're going to be qualified for leadership. And we get them a certificate, and the certificate says now you're nominated for leadership. But really, we're nominating them as a way to lead them into making a bigger purchase. Instead of making a leadership a purchase, just make it an honor. In other words, now you've completed your first 3 months, you've got your yellow belt. I'm looking at your attendance, you have perfect attendance. You've earned your all-stars. I don't know if any of you guys are doing all-stars. I'm just going to go over that because I think that's something that may be missing in some people's. But now you've done it, and now I wanted to make sure that you are properly introduced to the leadership class. Next time you come in, it's going to be the leadership class and not this basic class. So now it's a big thing. It's an honor. They earned it. It's not something they're buying into. Now, let's go back to the all-stars because it's probably something I haven't talked to in a while. I was looking at Chris Grove's students, and I noticed they all had 5 stars in their uniform. And I go, what are the 5 stars for? He goes, well, that's how to become an all-star student. He goes, there's certain things that I want a student to start doing right away. I want them to make a commitment for attendance. I don't want them to kind of slowly get started, but I want right off the bat that they're coming twice a week. I want them to enjoy physical fitness. So push-ups, sit-ups, things like that, squats, they're not punishment. That's something I want the people to do. I want my students to be flexible. Flexibility is really important. We do a lot of kicking in our system. I want them to be flexible. He goes, I also want them to have intensity. They've got to have intensity. I don't want people just going through the motions, but I want them to practice really, really hard. And I really want them to have great protocol. I want right off the bat saying yes sir, no sir. They're putting their shoes away nice and neat. They're doing all this. So he has a star for each one of those things. Once a student can do a split, either Chinese or American split, they get a star. So that's 1 star they earn. If they have perfect attendance for 4 weeks, they get a perfect attendance star. If they can do so many push-ups, so many sit-ups, and so many squats, they get a physical fitness patch, so they get another star. Once they start showing good intensity, in other words, they're not in just class going through the moves, but they're doing the moves, they've got loud, strong key eyes, they've got intensity on their face, well, I'm going to give them a red star for that. And then, again, for the protocol. So he's got those 5 stars. Once they earn 5 stars, they're called an all-star. So I started thinking of this program. Well, it'd be pretty cool. Student gets to be an all-star, and the student gets his yellow belt. Now he qualifies to leadership. So he's worked really hard for the right to be a leadership. It's not their parents signing up for 2 years. is because of the child's hard work. Now, a lot of people tend to quit within the first 90 days. People aren't going to quit, or I think they'll quit less if they have this to really go for. If they know that with hard work and dedication, they're going to get to be all-star. Now they get to be an all-star and they go to leadership. That's a great motivator. So I think it's going to help you keep your students for more of a long term. And then you have to say anything, well, I'm giving away that 2-year commitment. So is retention controllable through a contract? In other words, if someone signs up for 2 years, is that going to all of a sudden help my retention? Well, I talked to Tom Baker yesterday and talked to his kids. They have all their students on 24-month programs. And I go, guys, be honest with me. How many students want to quit each month that are on contracts? Now, they have 400 students, so I expect it to be quite a bit. And they go, it could be 2, it could be 4. I go, so they want to quit. You talk about that. You signed a contract and you have to have a commitment. They go, no, never. I said, well, what do? They go, well, we just let them out of it. So we just let them cancel. If they ever want to return, we want to make sure that there's no a financial burden. They're not mad at us. We just let them out of the contract. So they have really good retention. Again, they've got 400 students. So is the contract making good retention? I don't think so. I think good classes and their experience at the martial arts school is really controllable. This is a good question for a lot of people. Is there a different sense of security between cash and monthly billing? I talk to some clients, they go, I want my monthly billing really high. That gives me security. I talk to other people and they say, I want money in the bank because money in the bank gives me security. I was at, I'm going to use his name because he wouldn't even care, Johnny Med School. I'm with Johnny Med. He's up in Vancouver, Washington. And we're just talking about, hey, Johnny says, the 15th of the month. Can you just tell me, what's your checking account look like right now at the 15th of the month? I know you cash out a lot of people and things like that, but I go to a lot of schools and they start running out of money around the 15th. Sometimes they have more month than money. They just run out of that. I said, what's your checking account look like? He goes, let me check. He pulls up on his phone. He goes, right now, $340,000 is my balance. I go, you got $340,000 in your school bank account? He goes, yeah, I do a lot of cash, but I make sure I don't spend the money. I was talking to Chris Gates up in New York. He didn't have quite that much, but he had enough money to pay cash for a house. Those guys like security of the money in the bank. Some people like security of the check. So you have to kind of decide what's going to really drive you, because people really get motivated over security. When I ask that question, the thing that turns out different between Johnny and Chris is they don't spend unearned money. So in other words, with Johnny and Med, if someone pays him for 2 years, he realized he didn't earn that money. He got the money, but he has to give service for the next 2 years. So he doesn't spend that money. That money goes into his bank account. He's got good discipline. He's good at savings. People who have a challenge with that, when I was younger, I definitely had a challenge with that. I had a trading disorder for cars. I like motorcycles, things like that. So my security really had to do with building my check because I wasn't really good as far as self-discipline. So those are things you have to decide if you want to do more cash or do monthly billing tuition. So this is how things happen. People start with a trial class to get in visiting our school. You'll see people on Facebook and hear people talking about paid trials, a free class, a tour. It's all the same. I mean, the whole idea when someone makes contact with you, either through Facebook, your website, pick up the phone, walk in your door, you just have to make one goal. That goal is to make an appointment. The appointment is going to allow us to talk to the prospect, find out what benefits they're looking for, and see if we can help them. So I don't think there's one over the other. A lot of people like paid trials. I was talking to a client up in Washington. He goes, he hates free trials because free trials, he gets a lot of just tire kickers. I don't know if that's really true in most cases, but it really doesn't matter. get someone into your school, paid for 2 classes, taking a free class, doing a tour. It's your opportunity to get them onto the next step. The next step for most of you guys is a 6-month trial program. But I talk to a lot of clients at Rainmaker, and these are what I find out. Most people probably do 12 months. A lot of people do 6 months. Some people do 3 months. I was talking to Stefan Moliner, who's got a school in North Carolina. She does a 1-month trial. Someone comes in for a free class. They go on 1 month. After the 1 month, they're converted into open-ended programs. That is almost the same as signing up people just on an open-ended, give them a 30-day right to cancel, a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. But those are your choices. You probably can go to any number of contracts, but the whole idea is someone comes in for 1 class or 2 classes. You learn about them. You find out what benefits. You talk to them how martial arts can provide those benefits, and then you want to get them on the next step. So the ones, it could be 1 month, it could be 3 months, could be 6 months or 12 months. Really, the big difference in all those is the amount of down payment or the amount of cash you can get if people decide to pay in full. Your next step, if it's a 1, 3, 6, or 12 month, they should be in a 30-minute class. This is a beginner class. It's only for white belts and some yellow belts. You want this as a beginner class because people are always joining it. The curriculum should be pretty easy. I really like the whole idea of the qualifications for the yellow belt really being the protocol. It's a protocol test. Have they got the idea of calling you Mr. or Miss? Are they bowing on the mat? Are they showing good protocol? Are they doing self-discipline at home? Are they making it to 2 classes a week? I mean, that's really what yellow belt's all about. At the same time, they're learning some of the basics, front kicks, back kicks, reverse punch, all their blocks. So this way, when they get into the regular program with the yellow belts and above, they don't get lost. Again, the beginner curriculum is designed for brand new students. They need to feel that they can do this. They're getting a little fit. They make sure that they fit in and they're part of a group. They're learning the basics, they're learning the protocol again, just so they can fit into the next class. Now, your regular class, some people just call it beginner, intermediate, advanced. I see some people call, 5 to 6-year-olds. I really think it needs a name. It needs a branding. So when you get out of your basic class or your beginner class, it has some type of branding. These classes, depending on how you do your curriculum, they could be arranged by age group. So you could have 4 and 5-year-olds together, 6 to 9, 10 to 14. It doesn't matter the rank, they're just by age. Some schools, because they're on a different type of rotating curriculum, they want to have a beginner, an intermediate, and advanced class by different age groups. But it's a class above the basic class, and I think it should have a name. When I had my school in Arizona, we called it leadership. So you're either beginner student or you went to leadership class. So what we did is we had a beginner, intermediate, advanced, so you're either in leadership 1, leadership 2, or leadership 3. Some people call it black belt training. That's fine. The name doesn't really make a difference, but it should have a cool name. I'm a regular student in the basic class, and now I'm in black belt training. I'm a regular student in the basic class, and now I go up to leadership. And because I go into leadership, there's a different look to it. I have a nicer uniform. The classes are now 45 minutes. Maybe you do the century belt with a black stripes instead of having a solid yellow belt. Now I get a yellow belt with a black stripe, saying that I'm committed the long term. So when we start putting that together, again, the whole idea is to make the step from basic to leadership one that I'm really, really proud of. All of a sudden now I just made a big difference or a big leap in my martial arts. So I think most of the people that kind of are doing my program or listening to me on these meetings are doing this leadership as a 24 months. Again, they're not really nominated or anything like that. They're buying into that. What I'm suggesting now is maybe a more comfortable, easier, and better way to increase your monthly recurring billing is to have it automatically roll over into month by month. So you're starting off with maybe 3 months, and they're going month by month. They're starting off with 6 months. In 6 months, I kind of like, because I can get a pretty big down payment. I don't know if, let me look at the slides if I have already talking about this. Yep, so I just wrote this out today, so I just want to make sure I'm keeping up my notes. So if you're doing a 6-month program and you charge $150 a month, so that's students enrolling in your Welcome program, they're paying $300 down. That covers their first and last month. Then you just check off the box on Rainmaker that they're going to automatically renew at $150 a month. So this is very, very similar to when you go to the phone company. You're getting a new phone plan. They're signing you up for a year. After the year, it doesn't end. It just rolls over into month by month. So basically, it's the same thing. And I believe there's just a box to check off when you're enrolling the students on Rainmaker. Also, like the whole idea is they can quit anytime. They just have to tell you before their next payment's due. William Pierce went over this yesterday. Nice idea about getting the first and last is you don't have to worry about charging them a penalty for last month. You know, they're already covered for the last month when they put down their down payment. So you still have students move to leadership after Yellow Belt, but now there really is something that is earned. I think this difference is significant and may in fact improve retention. Now for those who say, well, do they have to buy the leadership uniform? You know, I was giving it to them free because they're putting an additional down payment or buying a different package. That's totally up to you. I think students, once they go up to leadership, if you had maybe instead of a white uniform, now they have a white uniform with black stripes, or they have a black and red, whatever you decide for your leadership uniform, I think parents would be more than happy to purchase this. And if you had equipment that goes along with that, they understand that. So that's still a money-generating opportunity when they buy the additional curriculum, or when they buy the additional merchandise to go along with the leadership program. So if you're looking to increase your monthly reoccurring income, you're going to see this happen through this program. Will students be more likely to quit? Well, some people always quit. You know, money comes into it, people move, their schedule changes, they get hurt, they lose their interest. And nowadays, there's really no way to keep anyone to a contract anyway. People just have to call up their bank and say, I want to stop this billing. They say their credit card was lost, so now they get a different expiration date on their credit card. So if they want to stop paying, they're going to stop paying. I was talking to Melanie Strauss. Melanie has a school down in Miami. She's having a really good month. She got 8 new students, but out of those 8 students, 5 people were returning students, which tells me a lot. They left her school for one reason or another, but they still felt the relationship was strong enough, they had no fear of coming back. If we're going to pester people for, you know, you stuck to your contract and this and that, you're not going to get people to come back. So if people do want to exit your school, I think it should be on a good note. I know one of the things Craig Haley does down here in Lighthouse Point, when someone quits, he stays in constant contact with him. So almost every 30 days, he's sending them something. He's sending them a card. Yeah, I can't believe it's been a month since you've been gone. I just came across this picture of you and your Yellow Belt. I want to send it to you. He'll send a note the following month. Hey, you know, it's like we have graduation coming up. I know you're not graduating, but a lot of your friends are. It'd be really cool if you showed up and supported them. So he's always saying, okay, people quit, but does that mean they're going to quit forever? Well, not forever if I keep in contact with them, and they always know that they're welcome back. So you may say, this sounds pretty good, but I'm in a position where I still need cash to cover some expenses. You still can talk to people after they convert to month after the 6 months. And just explain that we do have programs for people who are interested in saving money. If you want to commit for the next 12 months or 24 months, and you want to pay that all off in full, we can give you 20% off. This is old Fred Merton's mass training type figures. So I'm just going to share that. I mean, this was back in the early 2000s. So you give them 20% to pay in full. You tell them that if they want pay over the 90 days, give us 1/3 now, 1/3 in 30 days, another third in 60 days. We can save you 15%. If you want to sign up for 24 months and pay it off in 12 months, we can compress those payments and we'll give you a 10% discount for that. So if you're still looking to get cash, if cash is still important while you're building up your monthly recurring income, there's still ways to get students to pay for cash. Even though you're on open-ended, some people just don't like to have bills. We're talking to William Pierce yesterday, and he was saying his wife's one of those people. She doesn't like bills that are coming in and money coming off her checking account. If she's going to do something, she'd just rather pay in full, and it's done. So there's some people going to want to do that. Do we have any questions or comments? I know it's kind of half with the systems and half with just me thinking of why it would be cool and some of the things that may be negative to it.
I really like the all-star idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Chris Burrow's students just look so cool. You know, I couldn't figure why they had 5 different color stars. I know the red's intensity. I don't know what the other are, but when he was explaining, he goes, there's certain things that I want my students to do right off the bat, so I award them the stars so they do it fast. And he tries to get them to do it within the first 90 days. 30 days for some of them, 90 days.
All right. So the first is fitness, which is push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. The other one is flexibility. The other one is attendance. The fourth one is protocol, and the fifth one is intensity.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Easy to judge. I forget what his requirements for fitness were. It was like, I think it was 30 squats, 20 sit-ups, and 10 push-ups. And they had to do it in, I don't know, you'll have to time it. But I think he had them do them like under a minute. So it wasn't that they could do it all day.
30 squats. How many sit-ups and push-ups?
I think it was 20, then 10. So it was 30, 20, 10. I mean, those would be totally up to you. I mean, you being in you're a naval badass.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, you could be doing 300, 200, 100.
Right. Navy SEAL types.
Yeah.
Plus, that's perfect for your evaluation for them to go to leadership.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, just the name, you're an all-star.
Oh yeah.
You know, have all my all-stars line up first. I mean, that's like bragging rights. You know, it's like getting a nickname. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I'll down with the parent and the student. We do a performance evaluation, and so the things that while I'm sitting next to the parent, I'm having the child perform focus, respect, self-discipline, attitude, some karate moves. Then there's a place where I have comments. Yeah. So I already have the comments written. And then I'll check off, I think they're prepared for leadership. I sign it, they sign it, we date it. So it'd be really cool that once they get their 5 stars, it goes on this sheet too, and I check that off. You know, you don't have to take my word for it. They got their 5 stars.
Yep.
Sir, on another subject, are you going to talk about how the Bakers are kicking butt?
The Bakers are kicking butt because of their new addition. They got a new suite. So they went from 2,200 square feet to like 4,500 square feet, but they're in 2 separate buildings. There's a Chinese restaurant between them. But the new location is, I'll tell you about the Chinese restaurant too and what they did. When you drive into their shopping center to go, because it's a Albertsons food store, stoplight or stop sign, they have to decide to go right or left for parking. Their school is right in front. So thousands of people get to the stop sign and they're looking directly at their new location.
I see.
It's also, they're right next to the grocery store, and the grocery store has an outside place where people can buy coffee and eat outside, and they're eating basically in front of the Baker's school.
Okay.
So
a lot of
restaurant got so excited because Now the people going back and forth, more people going to China. The Chinese restaurants sponsored their grand opening. So they had a grand opening and they had an open buffet of Chinese food. So,
oh, wow.
but that turned into a really dynamic thing. So
basically a lot of traffic.
A lot of traffic and the excitement. It was pretty neat. Tom was saying that when he was doing the work inside the new location, people are coming by and parents would go, man, you guys are always doing something. I can't believe you're getting more room in here. You know, it looks so beautiful. I'm going to tell my friends about this. And he just got a lot of people talking about his school, and it was just one of those things that created a lot of excitement and interest.
Got it. Okay.
So, some of those people, too, it's like 7 or 8 are people that either put on a family membership or signed up for a new program within his school. So they're on martial arts, and now they signed up for martial arts, and they did a fitness program. Ellen Baker just started a kickboxing class at the school, so they've got some family memberships.
I see. Well, we got a couple paid in fulls this week, and we're 9 short of 600. So the goal is to try to get that as soon as possible. Hopefully this week, if not next.
So 600 is big time.
It is big time.
Yeah, 2 locations, 300 each. You know, that's being consistent. You got to be really proud of that.
Yeah. So that's going to be the big number for us here shortly. So I can't wait.
Know we're going to talk today, but have you thought more about a 3rd location?
Yeah. Looking into that. Looking into buildings to possibly buy in the future.
Excellent.
Are we talking? What time are we talking today, sir?
Can we do it right after this?
No, because I have to. My son's gymnastics classes is in about 15 minutes. I got to get going.
Okay, you tell me the time.
Let's see here. Is 2 o'clock good? My time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll put you in for 2, and then
I gotta get you to move to the East Coast, because that's 5 o'clock my time. Either I'm going to have to move to California, or you're going to have to move out here with a special office.
Well, moving out to the East Coast is not happening. That's
okay.
For sure. But you moving to California or
that's not going to happen either.
Yeah, so there you go.